vegan desserts do not have to be sweet. Like, there is this negative connotation around desserts or sweets. There's always like this negative connotation that deals with sugar. And the recipe that I'm about to show you is very low in sugar. It only uses 1/4 cup of coconut sugar. You can substitute with date sugar. Didn't feel like making any. It's great for kids. It's great for adults. If you have diabetes, this is somewhat of a low glycemic recipe. It uses Liza's fresh berries, fresh homemade jam. So yeah, let's check out the recipe, guys. I need to learn how to blink.
Inside Mo's kitchen, inside Mo's kitchen, where all things are light, all things are light with Mo, the vegan oracle.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Morgan, Chef Mo from Inside Mo's Kitchen, and we are back to finish part 2 of our vegan berry bar episode. Woo! Nobody gets it? Okay, cool. Anyways, so in the first part of the video, I showed you how we made our vegan jam, raspberry jam, which was really simple. It was like 2 ingredients, raspberries and a drop, like this much lemon juice. So now we're back and we are going to make our base for our bars, and then we're gonna put it in the oven for like 10 or 15 minutes. We're gonna let that cool, and then we're gonna come back, we're gonna put our filling in, and we're gonna put it back in the oven for like 20 minutes, and then we're gonna come out here, let that cool, and then we're gonna slice it. So, are you ready? Let's get started. Okie dokie, beloveds. So we have here, technically we have 6 ingredients because there's baking powder in there. So technically there's 6 ingredients here, but right now you can only see 5 of them. So we have here 3/4 of a cup of flour. Then we have 1/4 a cup of coconut sugar, and then we have 1.5 cups of oats. And then I have 1 tablespoon of lemon zest that I zested myself, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And then we got 3/4 a cup of, or 2/3 of a cup of coconut oil. So for this recipe, it's really simple. We're going to combine all of our ingredients. I always sift my flour. I sift my sugar. If it can go through a sifter, I'm sifting it. I sift cinnamon. I sift everything because it literally makes a greater consistency, a smoother product. It gives you a greater texture. I learned that technique in baking and pastry school. They were like, listen, it doesn't matter what it is. If it goes through a sifter, sift it. If it doesn't go through a sifter, seed it. So, and that is just like a baking trick. Like, and another thing about baking too is you really want to make sure that your measurements are spot on. I need to start back, like using my scale for at home. I do it for like my business, but I need to do it at home because it just makes, baking is a science. And so if like 2 tablespoons are off, it's going to create a different texture and chemistry in the finished product. And so it's really important that we pay attention to that when we bake things. This is not going to really make a difference. It's not a cake, but if you were making a cake and you didn't do it right, you would know. It would be a disaster. So we're just literally, this is a very simple 1 bowl trick, y'all. It's not hard. We're taking this and we are mixing it together until it's all combined. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna put our lemon zest, and that's gonna give it some more flavor. I put lemon in everything. My friends are like, that's her secret ingredient, y'all, lemon juice. Lemon juice goes in everything. Lemon juice goes in a grilled cheese sandwich. Like, it goes everywhere. It's kind of funny and sad. Lemon juice and hot sauce. That's literally country girl. I'm so country. So then we're going to take our coconut oil, and you see I didn't put all of it in there because I want it to be, I want to make sure that I'm getting the consistency that I want. This is also a great granola bar base recipe. If you wanted to add nuts, you could. I don't typically add nuts to things that I know Aiden is going to want to demolish. Only because I still got some flour in there. The bowl must have been wet. Only because he goes to a private school, and well, pretty much all schools are allergen free, and so I don't want to kill somebody's child. I just don't. So you want it to be able to form. Like you should be able to form a cluster. That's how you know when it's ready. And it's still gonna need some more coconut. It might need all of it. Just depends. It's weird. And another thing I've learned too about baking is that weather is so important. Like rainy day weather creates a different cake than sunny day weather. Cakes do better on sunny days. Macaroons, like don't even try to make a macaroon on a rainy day. Like it's not gonna work. It's not gonna leaven. So we've pretty much got it to the consistency that we want it. So you can see it here. This is the consistency that we want right here. Again, great base for granola bars. You can add almonds, pecans, seeds, whatever you want to add to the base, okay? Just make sure that you do this. You just, you know, figure out what ratio works best for you and then stick to that. So we're gonna we're just like pressing this in. Bottom. Like this right here. Like this right here. Like this right here. What? Like this right here. Like this right here. Like this right here. Let me know where you would like me to go. Let me know. And so you want to make sure that it's like even as much as possible. I mean, you're eyeballing this, but you'll know what's even, where there's thicker and there's not. And so then we're going to take this and we're going to pop this in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes until it's just, I want to get those edges though. I don't want those to be like that. No, you can't do that. I'm sorry. You just cannot. And we can add that somewhere else, but I don't want it to curl up like that. So, yeah, we're going to bake this in the oven for 10 to 15 minutes. We're really like 10 to 12 until you're gonna see it's like literally you don't want it to brown. You just want it to barely start to like creep up around the edges. And then you're gonna take it out and you're gonna let it cool for like 30 to 45 minutes. And then we're gonna come back, add our filling, and we're gonna make our crumble for the top. So we are back with our crust. It has been baked. I actually left it in for 15 minutes because 12 minutes was not long enough. And so, try to get in there. You can see that like it's not brown, but those edges, these edges are brown. Barely brown, golden brown. So that's how you know when it's ready. We don't want the center. It's still warm. We want it to be a little bit warm. So we're gonna go ahead. It's still warm. We want it to be a little bit warm. So we're gonna go ahead and switch to the table view so we can finish this baby off, okay? Let's do it. Our filling, we have two things. We have 2.5 cups of fresh rinsed blueberries. What is that? Oh, it's frozen. And then we have our raspberry jam. Now we are not going to use all of this jam. Maybe I didn't measure it, but we will see. So we are going to just start by taking 7 tablespoons. Fun fact, I've had the same tablespoon set since culinary school. And I was like, whoo, yo, that was like 7, 8 years ago. How many was that? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so all of it pretty much. Let's just say all of it. But I will save a little bit because I will scrape that and put that I will put that on a bowl, a smoothie. Like, that can be used in so many ways. So we're just gonna and you wanna try, I like to get in there and like smash my berries up just a little bit. This is our filling. We're gonna take that and we're gonna set that aside. Now we are going to put together really quickly our crumble. And you know what? I'm gonna add this back. All right, so now we are going to prepare. Our crumble for the top, and we have 1/2 cup of rolled oats again, and then we have 1/2 cup of unsweetened, keyword unsweetened, coconut shreds. Then we have a cup of coconut flour, sifted. If you don't want to use coconut flour, you don't have to. You can use the same flour that you used before, whether it be all-purpose, whatever flour you use for the base, you can still use that for the crumble as well. And if you want, you can like make a double of that recipe, and you can use the other half of the same recipe as the base, and you can use that as a crumble. But I'm just being extra, and I'm just doing this from the top. So this is going to go on top of, and that was like 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. I just put 2 tablespoons of coconut oil in there. Just gonna get all that extra raspberry stuff. Hey, that's actually pretty. I like that. So this is our crumble. We don't want it to get like it was before. We don't need it to be that kind of consistency. Just want it to be, you know, crumble. All right, put that to the side. So we are now going to take our filling. Take our filling here. And you see why I said I wanted to mash it? This is not the best tool to do that with, but I don't care. So if you have something better, like a back of like a wooden spoon, you can use a pot, you know, but you don't want to do it too hard because you don't want to mess up your base. So pretty. So pretty. So now we're going to take our crumble I like to make this coconut crumble for like my coffee cakes and stuff. Always comes out really yum. Look at those blueberries peeking through. So, and now we're going to take this, we're going to put it in the oven, and we are going to bake it at 365 degrees. It just depends on your oven, 365 to 375. Play with it. You'll figure out what's best for you. Mine likes 365 for 20 to 30 minutes. If your oven is a little bit slower, or if you have a really large oven, it could take up to 35 minutes, but you just want it to be brown at the top and also a little bit firm in the center. You'll know when it's done. You'll smell it. It'll be bubbly. All right, guys, so we are back. The berry bars have been in the refrigerator now for like 4 hours. So they're nice and cooled. So we are just going to slice these babies and we are going to taste them. And now you're gonna go make them. So let's cut them. All right. Okay, so I've got 2 knives here. I've got my chef knife. It's got blueberry sauce on it. And then I've got this copper knife that I absolutely love. So I'm just gonna cut through like this. Make sure you're cutting through that bottom layer of crust. And I've got parchment paper underneath here. That's why it's so important that you line it. And I'm gonna go back to this copper knife. I absolutely love it. My mom got it like for $5 somewhere. And this is probably my favorite knife. And it's the cheapest of all my knives. And it's my favorite. That tells you a lot about quality and pricing, right? And then these are just gonna be a little bit. We'll have like a little baby side. So getting these out. I should have did this in a spring pan. Was not thinking when I made these to not put them in a casserole dish, but to do it in a cake square spring pan. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna cut them into bars, little pieces. Ooh, look at that berry burst. So the crumble is messy. And these baked for 30 minutes at 375. I bumped it up to 375 like the last 10-15 minutes because it was just like not working. And if you don't want it to be this crumbly like a crumble cake, you can always add more coconut oil. So just gonna give it one more go. I want to make sure that I'm getting my crust. It's the best freaking part. So I've got my plate here. I want this one right here in the middle. So look at that, baby. So pretty. Really pretty. 5 bars. Alright guys, so now it's for the taste test. I recommend eating these without a fork. They're not really fork friendly. So if you're going to eat them, this is so good because the berries are fresh. And I don't know about y'all, but granola bars that don't have fresh fruit, you don't know what you're missing. And I love the coconut flour on the top because it gives it a really good coconut flair. but it's not overpowering. And a big thing about that too for the coconut oil is make sure you're using refined coconut oil, because if you're using refined coconut oil, it's not going to have a coconut flavor. Now, it does go through a chemical process. So if you don't care about having a coconut flavor, then use raw, virgin, unrefined coconut oil. That's what I use because we enjoy the coconut flavor. But if you're not a fan of coconut, I would definitely go for the refined coconut option. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. I surely will. I know Aiden will. I'll probably post a video on Instagram of him eating it so you can see a kid's reaction to it. So you know I ain't lying when I would tell you they would go crazy for it at school. So I love you guys. This is a really great breakfast recipe. It's a great snack recipe. It's a great dessert recipe. It's a great coffee cake recipe. Awesome. Everybody will love it. Your coworkers, your family. It's great for brunch, a breakfast bar. You can use it in so many different ways. If you want to eat it like a dessert, I would recommend eating it warm with like coconut cream. Lord, whole another life right there. I love you guys. I'll see you guys soon for the next episode. Peace. And make sure you watch part 1 if you're interested to see how I made the raspberry jam. Very simple, only 2 ingredients. All right, for real, y'all. Bye this time. Subscribe.